Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May.
Welcome to Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach and lash educator. And today I have another guest episode for you guys. I'm so excited to bring on Amanda Wagner. She's the owner of Pretty Little Lash Co. And she was a sponsor at Lash Biz Babes conference this year. Everybody loved her presentation on attracting high-end clients. So I'm really excited to bring her on and pick her brain for you about building your clientele in a small town, attracting high-end clients, and being a mom as a beauty business owner. And so let me give you a little bit of background on Amanda. She's a lash salon owner, educator, and online business coach. She's been in the industry since 2015, and she's really passionate about the financial freedom that being a lash artist can provide, since it has provided her family financial freedom. So after opening her salon in 2019, her husband was able to quit his full-time job to stay home with their 3 kids while she grew and scaled her business to 6+ figures. She now has expanded with 4 booth renters, in-person trainings, and online coaching. This industry has her heart because she was able to be an active mom while working part-time hours and making a full-time income, and she wants everyone to have that. Her goal as an educator and coach is to give lash artists, new and experienced, the tools to start, build, and scale their lash business that aligns with their lifestyle and goals. And if you've listened to Lash Biz Babes before, if you know anything about myself as well, you know that Amanda's, mission here, her whole brand really aligns with that, with being a present mom and aligning your goals and your lifestyle together in your business with that. So I was really excited to get to chat with her. And so without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Right. Welcome to Lash Biz Babes. I am so glad we finally get to have you on the show. And so first off, I'd just love for you to introduce yourself and what you do in the industry.
I am Amanda Wagner. I own a lash salon in a small town, and I'm a business coach, lash educator, and lash artist.
Love it. So tell us how you got started in industry or as a lash artist.
So I joined the industry in 2014. I was actually a heavy equipment operator before I started doing lashes.
Such a big change.
I had a 2-year-old and I was making really good money, but I was working like 50 to 60 hours a week, Monday through Saturday, with like mandatory overtime, and I never saw my daughter. But I was able to financially afford getting lashes. So I started seeing a lash artist and they were not good. I was having to go in like every week, and I thought it was something that I had to like build up to. And eventually I just realized like that she didn't really know what she was doing. And I was like, I think I can do this and I think I can do it better. So I finished out the summer season being an operator, and then I enrolled in aesthetic school in December.
That's awesome. Such a big change, but I totally understand like the construction kind of like industry a little bit. My husband works in it, and it can be so much. So the switch you made there.
I had so many different jobs before I became a lash artist because I was like on the pursuit of happiness. I was like, if I'm going to be away from my family and my kids, I better love what I'm doing. So I tried so many different things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I totally understand that. Okay, so you're in a smaller town, like you were saying, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of lash artists. I get this question so often, like in my inbox. I swear this is probably one of the top like 10 questions I get. There's a lot of lash artists and beauty pros who have like some limiting beliefs around how like successful they can be in a small town, or they have a lot of struggles, or they feel like they can't charge higher prices because of their areas. So what has your experience been with growing your clientele and your business in your small town?
When I first started lashing in 2015, there wasn't any lash artists in my town. So I actually commuted 45 minutes to a salon that had employees, and I was an employee there for 3 years. And then after I had my second baby, I was like, I can't do this commute anymore with nursing and commuting. It just wasn't possible. So I opened up Pretty Little Lash Co in 2019. There was no lash salons at the time, and it was really scary. But I just went for it because I was like, I have like 6 people that commute from my town to the other salon just to get them because there was no one in my area. So I just kind of went for it. And things were a little bit different back then in 2019 compared to now.
Yeah.
But I've never had a problem growing my clientele, and I've helped all my booth runners grow their clientele. And I feel like if you can set up a lash studio that's clean, your artistry is solid, you have good music, it smells good, clients are going to come. I mean, people can go anywhere to get their lashes done, but you just need to figure out what sets you apart, and they want to have that experience with you. So I think it's just important for how you present yourself and the environment you're providing for them.
Yeah, I love that. And I totally agree. And I think in a small town, that makes a huge difference because, there might be, and some people like, there's so many like lash artists in my small town and people charge less and whatnot. But like the experience that you're giving them is such a big deal, in that people are going to like, they want that.
Yeah, we have a lash salon on the other side of the street from us. So one on each end of the street. And we're the 2 main lash salons in Port Orchard. And we're totally different though. So like my clientele is different from their clientele. Like they get super dressed up and they wear heels and they look, that's just not me, but they look great and they're attracting a different kind of clientele.
Yeah.
Me and all my girls here, we're wearing like crew necks, Vans. We're just different, more laid back, a little more chill. So I feel like even though we're right next to each other, our clientele is different. And my clients wouldn't feel comfortable going in there because they're like me and they'd probably feel a little like, out of place. So I think you just have to figure out like who your ideal client is and who you want to attract, and then people will come.
Yeah. I agree. And it's
And,
like, it's the vibe you're setting.
yeah, and they in the lash salon down the street, they do like really long and wispies. I don't do super long lashes. So if you want somebody that's going to do like really long lashes, you're going to go to them. If you want like short and dense, you're going to come to me. So I think everybody's different, and it really just depends on what you're offering.
Yep. And just, setting yourself apart in that way and using that to your advantage, because you could sit there and be like, oh my gosh, they have so many clients and they do long wispy lashes. Maybe I need to do long and wispy. When you can stay in your own lane and do your short and dense and attract the kinds of clients who want that instead.
Oh yeah, there's like still lash artists that just do classic or like really natural looks. Like there is a clientele for everybody.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
And being in a small town, if you think about it, like every lash artist has between 20 and 40 clients.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you can't find 20 people in your small town, even if there's only like 5,000 people, like you can find 20 people,
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I always tell people too, is like, because they're like, there's only a few thousand people. And it's like even if like, depending on your timing and how many hours you're working, like even if you were fully booked for like a solid 40-hour week back to back, no breaks, that's like maybe 50 clients max.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some people take a couple more than that, but like you're telling me like you can't find, 50 people, when you just sit down and look at the math, like everyone's going to max themselves out at some point with clients. They can't take
and if your Instagram
every
is
single
catered
person
towards your town, like mine is a little different now because I'm doing more education, so I have people from all over. But if you have 300 people following you just from your area, like there's 50 clients in there that will eventually come to see you,
100%. And that's why I always preach like local followers, because it's such an important part. But I also think in small towns too, like word of mouth is huge as well. So we just did a big out of state move, and I was trying to find a lash artist. I could barely find anyone online. And I found out that the reason why was because I thought, oh, there's barely any lash artists here. I couldn't find anyone. I found like two maybe. But then I found out once I went to go get my lashes done that everyone just builds their clientele from word of mouth.
Ooh.
So no one really even markets themselves online. So
I've seen some good artists in Idaho too. You guys don't have to have a license there, right?
no, there's
It's just
no licensing required for lash extensions. So I mean, apparently there's a lot of lash artists in town here.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's all word of mouth, which makes sense because like smaller towns, people know people, everyone knows each other. And then that can be, when you do have that good experience, or like you were saying, like your ideal clients and you are like catering to them, that can be a huge thing where they're telling all their friends that are like-minded to them about you, and spreading the good word that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So do you think it's possible for lash artists or, beauty professionals, cosmetologists, estheticians, to build a high-end clientele in a small town? Like, do you think it's possible to charge higher end prices too? Because I think that can be a big debate sometimes, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as someone who has successfully, built a higher end clientele in a small town.
When I was prepping for this, I was actually what I said that, you can find 20 to 40 people to lash, but as I'm thinking about it, I just feel like it really comes down to mindset. And like the thing that sets you apart as a high-end artist in a small town, most small towns, they'll take one lash training and then they'll never, take another training. They'll kind of be stagnant, not focus on the artistry. So there you can find tons of basic artists in small towns. But if you're in a small town and you invest in your education and you learn like the advanced techniques like the Kim K, the strip lash look, the wet look, the angel sets, and you set yourself apart from the other artists in the area, they're not going to know how to do that. So I have a ton of clients in my town that come to me just for the Kim K or other techniques because everybody else just does the one length across basic lash set. So I think a big thing you can do in a small town is focus on the artistry and what's going to stand apart, because anybody can just throw lashes on and not map people and not think about it. But if you're focusing on like those advanced looks, people are going to be like, okay, well, I've been getting the same thing for a while. I'm ready for something new. And if their artists can't achieve that, then they're going to start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. There's not a lot of lash artists in general who are just willing to invest in their continued education. And I think that is a huge thing that can set you apart, especially when there are, like right now, I just feel like there's so many different trends than what there used to be. And it's a different mapping, different skills that are being used. And like this industry is constantly evolving with products and technique and education and, the trends and such. So I think doing that continuing education is so important.
Well, and I think we've been doing lashes about the same amount of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Back in like 2014, 2015, it was like all classic. And when people would say like, I want fuller, you would either double up with like a smaller diameter, or you would go longer. Like fuller meant longer usually. So I feel like then you had these super long ones. So when volume came out, nobody wanted to learn volume. All the classic people were like, I don't want to learn it. Like I like classic. And I was stoked because I was like, I am so over not being able to give my clients what they want. And I also hate being new. Like I don't like not knowing what I'm doing. So I jumped on quick and learned volume. And then, then mega volume came out, and now we're getting all these different techniques and styles. So I feel like it's just really important to stay current with the trends.
Yep, I agree with that. And, clients I feel like are getting more educated on it at this point too. So they do know like more, I mean, not everybody. There's a lot of clients who don't know like even the difference between classic and volume. But there are a lot more clients out there who have been getting lashes for a long time and who know quite a bit what they're talking about for the most part. And they're like are requesting specific looks and specific wet set or angel set, or they want the anime lashes, and so that can be something, that definitely, especially in a small town, can for sure set you apart.
And it's hard to find training in a small town, so you kind of have to go out of your way to make sure you're investing.
Yeah, yes, that is so true. So far, I've only been in this small town where we just moved to for like less than 3 months, almost 3 months. But so far, I haven't seen anyone that trains here in town. You'd have to go like at least an hour away for
me,
the next like
Seattle.
training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question for you. What do you think are the top things to focus on for a solo owner if they want to shift into attracting higher end clients? Like if they kind of have the deal seeking clients, the ones who were like always like late or asking for a discount, or getting the "you're too expensive" in the DMs. What can they do to start really shifting that, like maybe their marketing or their clientele in that way?
Well, the first thing is you have to raise your prices. You have to be out of reach for those clients that are penny pinching. Not only are they going to complain about your prices, but as soon as someone cheaper comes along, they're going to leave you.
Yep.
So you don't want somebody that's like hunting for a deal, or no matter how desperate you get, you don't want that kind of clientele. So the first thing I would say is raise your prices. And then I would say invest in your artistry and your technique. Like, why should they choose you? Why do you stand out? Why should they pay more? Because it is an investment. And I would really look into like what your area is missing. So, if everyone does the same volume, like what can you do to be different?
Yeah. And that's something that when I used to be scared to raise my prices, it was just like, well, you're never going to attract higher end clients or clients who are willing to pay more if you don't have higher prices.
Yes.
And especially like the clients who are willing to pay more are actually scared off by people who have lower prices, because they're like, why is that so cheap? Or think there's something wrong with the quality, like it's like something's going to be off with it, so they're like detracted from that. So I think that that's a big thing too, is like if you want to start attracting those higher end clients, you have to basically bring and elevate up your business to what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Because they're not looking to pick someone based off of prices. They're not looking for the cheap artist out there. They're looking for the quality. They're looking for the good experience. They're looking for someone who can offer the different styles or set that they want. And that's what they're going to pick an artist based on. So I love that you brought up, like, you have to raise your prices, because that can be scary, but it's so necessary.
You have to find out who your high-end clientele is, because I feel like people always think it's somebody like that, is super rich, has a ton of money, and that's not always the case. Like, you can find people that make a decent income that are a high-end client. It's really how they're going to treat you, if they're going to appreciate you, if they're looking for quality over, anybody. So figuring out who your high-end client is and raising your prices are the top two things I would say. And then creating your content to show them why they need you. And basing your content around your high-end client.
Yes, I love that. I think that that's such a good point. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're like some rich, fancy person. It's just that they value the service enough that that is part of what they are willing to pay out every month. Like, they still have to be able to afford it consistently, but it's a value for them. It brings value to their lives, and I love that part. Were there any differences? So when it comes to like marketing specifically, were there any differences in your marketing before you focused on attracting high-end clients versus after?
I would say so. Because back in the day when you don't really know what you're doing, you're just posting those like above behind the bed shots of their eyes.
Yeah.
And like, clients have no idea what they're looking at, so, and then they put in the caption just like, I don't know, wait, I woke up like this. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Laughing because that used to be me.
Yeah, me too. Or like, newer artists do it because they just don't know. But clients don't know what that's going to look like when they open their eyes. They don't know what they're looking at from above. And then the caption means nothing. Right. So I think it's when I switched to like what's going to make them want to, I started doing like educational posts, before and afters with the eyes open, behind the scenes, me setting up my station, what the lashes look like, how I make fans, showing them more the ins and outs of everything, and showing them like what my lash bed looks like and how comfortable it is and the heating pad, and just catering to that sort of stuff. Versus like if I go to someone's Instagram as a lash artist and I look and I just see like behind a ton of eyes and like the captions are just cringy, instantly no, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're not selling anybody. You're gonna attract the lower end clientele.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think too, a lot of people don't necessarily know like what to write in the captions. So then a lot of times they're depending more on like their prices to attract the clients for them. So I'm running a sale, or my, I'm not
Oh
the
yeah.
I'm not the expensive one, like I don't charge an arm and a leg. I've seen people comment that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if that's
Or
the clientele you want to attract, but just know that that type of messaging is going to attract the clients who are looking for a deal.
right. And instead of putting like, I woke up like this, you could put like, look how beautiful my client's going to wake up tomorrow with these fluffy lashes that are catered to her eye shape. She looks so beautiful. She's feeling so confident. Like that's a way different experience and feeling you're giving that potential client versus like, I woke up like this, like they just don't care.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
that's it. And I like that you said like the way that it's going to make them feel, because that's exactly what I was about to say. Like, can you feel the difference in that between like, I woke up like this versus she's going to wake up like ready to go out the door and look at what with these fluffy lashes and look great and feel put together. And they're like, the difference between those is a
Exactly.
big deal. And it's like a lot of our business with like marketing and like our services is like how we're making our clients feel. So I love that. I think that that's
And
amazing.
I also think utilizing your stories when you're attracting a high-end clientele.
Yeah.
That's where people are going to see your personality. They're going to connect with you. So when you're attracting a high-end clientele, your feed is going to be like, the before and afters and the educational content, wash your lashes, that sort of stuff. But then in the stories, you can be like, oh, I'm setting up my station. It's a beautiful day. This is my outfit. This is my coffee. People want to get to know you on a personal level, and you don't ever want someone to walk into your lash salon and not know who you are. Like, oh, I think I have an appointment with Amanda, but they don't know who you are. Like, you kind of failed on your social media if they don't know who you are and feel that connection when they walk in the door.
Yeah, yep, I agree. It's like more the day-to-day behind the scenes, and that it really does more showcase like you as the artist for sure.
Yeah.
And I love that too, because I know like when my clients used to come in for the first time, they're like, hey, Erica, like they felt like they already knew me.
Exactly.
And I think that that is like a really great first step as like their or first part of their client experience anyway, because they really do have that good like first impression of you before they even come into your studio at all.
And it will help longevity because that your personalities are going to get along versus someone just seeing pictures and not knowing who you are. And sometimes it's just not a good fit. Sometimes you guys are just very different and you just don't vibe together. So when they see you on the stories, at least they kind of know who you are and what they're getting.
Yes, I would
So it'll
agree with
save you
that.
time in the long run.
I was like laughing a little bit because I remember, because I feel like for myself, clients that I got from Instagram who could see my personality, see more of who I was, and like get that vibe ahead of time, we clicked a lot better versus like clients on Google,
Oh yeah.
which like I tried to showcase, like pictures of myself and things there as well, but it's not the same. And like I
Very
still
different.
got a lot of really great clients from Google, and I feel like it's a great resource for lash artists. But I just remember this one client that booked from Google, and we just the vibe was just so off, and we both knew it. And you could like no one said anything. Like I'm not gonna say anything, but like
No.
no, it just we both like you could tell that both of us were just like nope, not a good fit.
When you ask them if they want to pre-book and they're like, I'll do it later, you're like,
Yep,
yeah, I know
I'm
what that
like, yep,
means.
okay, great. Well, and it's almost
See
like,
you never.
thank you for not booking again.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just made me laugh. But then the more awkward part of that story was that we moved and then ended up going to church with her after that. We were like at the same church.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay, awesome. So hey. It was so awkward.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, anyway, okay, so shifting gears a little bit here. So you are a mom. How many kids do you have?
I have three.
Three. Okay. So I love
I have an 11-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Awesome. So you're in the thick of it as well.
Yeah.
2-year-olds, man.
Preteens and toddlers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is a big like stretch in age right there. You've really got it all going on at once. So with mom and business owner life, you've retired your husband now, right? He stays home with the kids, or
Yeah.
what's the setup there?
Yeah, so when I opened Pretty Little Lash Co in 2019, I built my clientele in 3 months and I surpassed his income, and we actually had him quit his job as an EMT to stay home with our kids. Because the daycare and the opposite schedules wasn't working, and I was able to make so much more money, which was shocking to us. So yeah, he stayed home. He's been home since like 2019. He's tried a few jobs here or there, but it's just hard because you can make so much money as a lash artist that his income just doesn't seem to, we're having a hard time switching roles. But yeah, so in 2019, he started staying home, and it was a great move for our family life.
So like what would be your biggest piece of advice for the moms out there? If that is like a goal that they have, that they like want to retire their husband at all, or biggest piece of advice as like a mom and a business owner. Maybe we'll do one of each.
Okay, I think the real thing is like, it doesn't matter whether so when I started opening my business and my husband was working, the thing was that we wanted a way for me to be able to make a full-time income working part-time. So opening my business, I could work 2 days and still bring in essentially the same amount he would be bringing in. So I wanted something where I could be flexible, be home with my family. It's really important for me to be able to be at all the sports events and be really active in my kids' schools and do all the things. So that was our mindset starting out. And then when I passed his income and he stayed home, even though I'm the breadwinner of the family, I still only work 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Awesome. Thursdays are usually like a half day, like 8 to 1. I don't normally work a full day, but I work like 3.5 to 4 days a week, and I'm able to bring a full-time salary home to my family. So I think whether you want to just have the flexibility and be a part stay-at-home mom, part working mom, or you want to retire your husband, I love lashing because you can work as little or as much as you want and still make a great income.
Yep.
My biggest words of advice, though, would be that you just have to make sure your business aligns with you and what you want. Don't work whatever hours just because you need the clients or the money. I know I don't like working nights or weekends. I'm not happy. I like to, especially having kids in school, I would never see my daughter.
Yeah,
so
it's hard.
I open my business working 8 to 4 during the day, because if you're attracting evening and weekend clients, as soon as you switch your schedule, you're going to have to rebuild that clientele, because night and weekend clients cannot come in during the day. So my biggest advice would be figure out what works for your family, how many days you want to work, how much money you need to bring in, and cater it around that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's extremely true, because that's what like basically happened for me when I built my clientele in 2020 after we moved. I had night and weekend clients. And it got to the point where it's like, I don't want to work night and weekends anymore. So I
miss bedtime and all those moments.
Yeah, it was like I was working 4 nights a week plus Fridays and Saturdays. And so it was like 30, I don't know, I was working like 30 something hours a week. But it sucked because I was not home with that was the time when my husband was home. He was off work because he was with I had one baby at the time. So he was with my son. And so I decided I'm going to switch my schedule, and had like a nanny come to our house a couple days a week. So I started working like 2 full days a week. And it was so hard because a lot of my clients couldn't necessarily make that schedule work. Like there were some that could, but I was still having to come in like a couple nights a week still just to take in at least a few of those clients, because I didn't want to like cut my clientele in half.
Well, and you are kind of setting yourself up for heartbreak, because you grow and you start to love those clients. And so when I transitioned out of Saturdays, I was like, man, I'm gonna miss you, but I know we're just never gonna see each other, you know, like I
Yeah.
just know it's not gonna work. So, you know, you build those deep relationships with people and then you have to like let them go is really hard too. We
Yeah.
live in a Navy town, so there's like something called a shipyard near us. And so a
Mhm.
lot of people work, you know, 8 to 4, 6 to 2, Monday through Friday. So our area has a big need for nights and weekends, but with your marketing and everything, since I work 8 to 4, I have to cater to, or I market myself to like baristas and nurses and stay-at-home moms. And, you know, you really just have to change like who you're marketing to, but you will
Yes.
find clients. And as a mom, you're probably going to end up lashing a lot of moms.
Yes, 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 yes. I like can't agree with that anymore. That's one of the things that like I've helped students with too is like you have to figure if you only have certain hours, like what kinds of professions can come during those hours and how are you marketing yourself to those professions? I think that that is such a good point that you just brought up. Because
Exactly. Yeah.
especially as moms, when we do have limited time or certain hours that we want to be working, then we've really got to market ourselves to the people who can come during those hours. Um,
Exactly.
and I think also like market ourselves to clients who are going to like understand that you are a mom and like they be like flexible with that in a sense. Like I always loved when I had like other mom clients or like grandmas because they were so like understanding of my need of being a mom. Like if my child was sick, they were not upset about that if we needed to reschedule. And like, obviously, I would show them the same respect. You know, their child's sick. Like,
Exactly.
I tried to be accommodating in that way because I get it,
You
you
have to have
know?
grace. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I love that you brought that up because I think even more, like, obviously, that's important for everyone, but I feel like even more so as a mom, it's like you got to be marketing yourself to the right people for
Well, and
sure.
I feel like people think like, oh, I have to work nights and weekends to get started, but that's just simply not true. Like I always tell my booth runners or trainers, like if you don't want to work that long term, don't even start. Like just start marketing and building your clientele for what you want to work.
Yes, I agree with that. And I know there's a lot of people in the industry who will say otherwise, but
Mhm.
just like personal experience with it, like I tried the whole like be flexible for clients whenever, and it sucked. I
There's
missed out on a
so
lot of family time.
there's so many jobs out there. Like when you work 8 to 4, you're obviously not catering to the client that works 8 to 4. Like I'm not
Yeah.
looking for people that, you know, work the 9 to 5 hustle Monday through Friday. I'm looking for like nurses or EMTs or people that work like weird schedules. Because
Or like
obviously, if I'm,
other beauty business owners
yeah,
too.
other
Yeah.
hairstylists, yeah, all of it.
Because I mean, for me, that was a lot of who I had as clients were like other lash artists, other hairstylists, nurses. I had a couple nurses who would come in after their night shift and just like
Hmm.
get their lashes done and they'd take a nap and then go home and sleep for like the rest of the morning.
Those
Like,
are my favorite.
yes.
Those are
And
my
it's kind
favorite.
of nice in a selfish way because it was like just an easy, quiet appointment.
Exactly. I pop in a podcast and I'm like, good to go.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Awesome. Okay, so um and shifting gears a little bit again here. A question I'm going to start asking more. I've started asking so I haven't done guest episodes in a while. It's been like over 6 months, but now one of the questions I'm going to start asking everyone is about like are there any books that you're reading right now? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs read like self-development type of books or just are always reading something. And so I would love to hear what you've got going for you right
So I'm currently reading The Power of One by Ed Milet. Have you ever heard his podcast?
now. I started listening to it a few weeks ago for the first time and I am legitimately
Oh
hooked.
my
Like
gosh. It is the
it's
best
so
thing to listen to
life-changing.
when you're lashing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, because it's not just about the lash business, it's like mindset, you know? And I'm also a Christian, so I love that a lot of his stuff does go back to that.
Yeah.
But even if you're not a Christian, it's not like super heavy. Anybody can
No.
listen to it.
Well, and he's very good about like being inclusive in that way. He's like, yes,
Yes.
I'm Christian and here's how I view it, but even like I think an episode I was just listening to his was like even if you're Buddhist or Hindu
Mhm.
or this, there's like no matter what you believe, like and he will make his point with that. So I think he does a good job with that.
Yeah, and he really talks about like just connection and utilizing your time, and I just love it so much. So his podcast is incredible, but I just started reading his book, The Power of One, and that's really good. So that's what I'm reading now. I just finished Atomic Habits. Have you read that book?
I have not read that one yet, but I hear it's highly recommended.
That one's a really good one. And then on Audible, I'm listening to Building Your Brand Story by Donald Miller.
Love it. So you've got a few things that you're reading right now. Good for you.
I also listen to like a lot of Christian-based books and Audible, just because I try to align my business with that, with my faith and my family. But I do listen to a lot of self-development as well. And I toggle. I kind of get sick of listening to one thing. So
yep, I can understand that. And just, you got a good mix going on there. I'm gonna go have to look up his book now. I didn't realize he had a book because I've heard his name before, but like never, like I said, I would just recently started listening to his podcast. So if anyone who's listening needs another podcast recommendation, I would highly recommend the Ed Milet Show. I think there was one the other day I was listening. Well, okay, so I think I have ADHD. I'm like almost positive I do because both of my older sisters have been diagnosed with it in the last 6 months. And like I have the same struggles or similar struggles as they do. And so something that is really helping me stay on track and focused is listening to a podcast while I like clean or do other things, because I'm not getting distracted. I'm like listening to that while I'm getting my stuff done. Anyway, so I've been listening to his podcast, and there was one the other day that I literally listened to 2 times in a row because I was like, this is so good. And a lot of the ones I've been listening to are like mindset and like communication, different things. So anyway.
The one he just did was Building Your Business Empire. That one was really good.
I think I just started listening to that one yesterday. I don't think I finished it yet, but yeah, really good one.
Yeah, I think it's really important as a lash artist to really protect your mindset. And I posted something the other day, like a reel, and it was about like protecting your mental health, because I had a client one day that was like getting married, and the next one was getting divorced, and then I had one that miscarried, and then I just was like one that had cervical cancer, and it was just a really heavy day. And I don't think people realize the heavy mental load it takes being a lash artist and taking everyone's.
You're like taking on all of that, and that can be definitely hard.
So I really try to make sure that I'm just keeping myself mentally strong and giving myself the breaks I need mentally and physically. So
I love that.
And just recommend podcasts and reading for sure.
Yeah. And like, just like taking care of yourself too. And like taking care of your own like mental health and well-being. I think that made a big difference for me as well. Just in that, because I was taking care of myself, I was better able to like be there for my clients without like taking on any of their problems or things that they're going through. Kind of like, I think I've heard it talked to as like being in a boat, like you're not taking on any of their water basically, and like sinking down, so that but you can still support them and be there for them. You're just not going to drown along with them.
You can't be taking it home to your family because it's not fair to them.
Well, and not only that, but like, just taking it into the next appointment for the day too, especially if you have like back-to-back clients, or like, you're taking more than one in a day, and like, maybe the first one is getting divorced, maybe the next one's like about to have a baby. Like it's totally different energies there. And if you're bringing on the first into the second, and that can be a lot, and then that's not necessarily fair to the other client that to be like pulling it into the next one. So I think like resetting your energy in between clients can be a helpful thing too, for sure.
I feel like I've gotten really good at doing that, but do you ever get off work and then just sit in your car and
you like have to like decompress? Well, and especially because you're like, okay, like I have to go home to my kids now. And like find the mental capacity to be like patient with them and make them dinner and like help them, and that can be a lot for sure.
So I'm gonna take the long route home today.
Like give yourself that minute to decompress. 100%.
Exactly.
Well, and I'm like in between clients, I would try and make sure, it didn't happen all the time, there was obviously crazy days that were like back to back and things, but if I had time to like stretch in between or get some water in between, or like you know, go for a quick walk outside or get some fresh air, or, you know, change the music, just anything to, like a little
Reset.
dance party in between or something. But yeah, something to reset, because that can, even just sitting that long all day can be hard for sure.
Exactly. Yep.
So any last words of advice for us, or thoughts that you have, especially for any of like the solo lash artists or beauty business owners out there?
My main advice would be to write what your ideal goals are for your business, like what your dream schedule looks like, what your dream clientele looks like, what your dream income looks like, and really work out a plan to make sure that all those align. And it will happen for you. You just have to have a plan in place. And that's how you're really going to thrive. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. And also, don't listen to people that scoff when you say that you're going to do lashes and make a full-time income, because me and my husband have definitely heard people be like, oh, you stay home, your wife does lashes. But it's crazy, because the money you can make in the lash industry is insane,
Yeah.
you know?
They
And
don't
I think
realize
a
the
lot of people
potential.
will give you doubt. So
Yeah.
and then I do have a 6-week course specifically for how to start your lash business from the ground up, licensing costs, building your clientele. Because when I first opened, I didn't have any help with that. I had to Google and just trial and error and fail forward. So I do have a course if anybody is interested in that too.
Awesome. I love it. And you do have, I believe you have like a mini course for high-end clientele as well, right?
I do. I have a mini course for high-end clientele too. Yeah.
I love that. And you were a sponsor at Lash Biz Babes conference, so that's something that you talked about at the conference as well. And I know a lot of people really loved your presentation with that. So
Thank you. Yeah, it was so fun.
it was a lot of fun to have you there. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on and, you know, sharing your story, sharing your knowledge with us. We super appreciate you. Where
you
can
for
they
having me.
find you online and connect with you?
You can find me at prettylittlelashco.com, and then my Instagram is Pretty Little Lash Co, and all of my links are on there as well.
Okay, awesome. So I'll put her links in the show notes to make it super easy for you guys to go follow her. But thank you for being here today.
Thank you.